Hello everyone, welcome to Horror and Monster Collectibles, where today we are going to be taking a look at something different. I am going to be giving you a tutorial on how to sharpen and polish a Freddy glove. I had posted up a quick video on Facebook of this, and I got a lot of messages on how it was done, so I figured I would show you what I did. But to catch you guys up, this is Cinemaquette's 1/3 Freddy, the Infinity Hell statue. And the way it comes is this is just like a flat stamped piece of metal, and there's no edge on here at all, and it's not polished, and it just doesn't look the part, especially for an expensive statue. So what I wanted to do was go ahead and sharpen the blades and polish them to kind of give it that high-end look. So what I did first was I masked off the entire glove with 3M, I just used blue 3M masking tape, and I laid down pieces in between here and all the fingers, so the only thing that was showing was the blades. And that way, like, I could work around in between the fingers and not damage any of the paint work that was done on the hand. So after that, I got started with the Dremel. I try to use Dremel anytime I can. It saves a whole lot of time as far as tackling a project like this. You just go slowly. The key thing about doing anything like this is you can take away material, but you can't really add it. So what I started with after I had everything masked off was just their standing drum. And I started with the coarse one. I'm not sure what grit this is, but they have two. There's a coarse one, and then there's a finer grit. And I started with the coarse one, and that's what I did to start to shape the edge on the blade. And you can kind of see it there catching in the light. I went ahead and started making passes on here, just trying to get a good edge on here. And I did that for all of the fingers, obviously, and then I followed it up with this guy to kind of start to get some of the roughness out of there. And yeah, so like that's what I did for that. And then I took this guy, which is a 220 grit, and I went and started doing passes over it, like about this angle right here. And I would just do passes like this, just kind of like smoothing it out. At this time, I'm not doing anything as far as the blades themselves. Only thing I'm doing is trying to create an edge and smooth that edge out. So I would do passes here, just kind of smoothing things out. And then at that point, I kind of got the shape that I wanted. I had a decent edge on these things. So I wanted to start to smooth out they had like just a really flat coarse deal on the surface for these things, just where it's basically just like a stamped piece of metal. And what I did was, this is where I started doing the hand stuff. So I started with basically about 220, but I just doing this by hand. Like I only use this to kind of finish up the blades right here, the edges. And then I started with like 200, and then I did 400, 600, and then 800, just with hand sanding. I would get in here and start working it. The places where it kind of got to be a pain in the butt was getting in here in between the gloves and in between the fingers here. But just take your time. And then I would come back through here and I would sand the top edge so that started to smooth out real nice. And then once I got down to about 800, I was pretty much at a good point where I wanted to start polishing. You can go take it a lot farther, but that was already fine enough where I felt like I could start tackling some polishing on here. And so what I did was I started with Dremel's polishing compound. And I started with this because I feel like it's a little bit coarser to kind of start with, and before I go to like a Mother's, like a nice smooth polish. So I wanted to use this, and then what I ended up doing was I would just use their polishing wheel and I would use the large one anytime I could, as far as coming over here and like any of the areas that I could get to easily. Like this side was super easy, but getting in between here was kind of a pain in the ass. So I just took one of these wheels, and I took an X-Acto and I cut it down to the size that I needed to be able to fit in between the fingers. So I started doing that and getting down in here with this compound. And then I had like a pretty decent sheen to it, but I know I wanted to use Mother's polish. This is this is my cup that I used for it, but Mother's aluminum polish is technically an aluminum polish, but it works for pretty much any kind of metal. I love the stuff. So I ended up using the same wheels and with the Mother's compound, and I went over there and I just kept on making. I probably did like a couple passes for each blade, just till I achieved the surface that I wanted, where I had a nice sheen on there. But I like the way it turned out. If you guys have any questions on this, like I could totally give you some tips on doing it. I know it's kind of like a scary thing to kind of start to tackle, but it really adds to the piece. It really, really does. I was disappointed with the blades and the way it came from the factory. I can understand it would take them a long time to do this for all the pieces made, but also, like, if you're spending that kind of money, I would like to see stuff like this done, you know? So again, if you guys have any questions on it, like, I will be more than happy to help you guys out. And you can also use the same technique for their life-size bust with their gloves, because I think that those blades are also dull and flat. And it's just the same thing, it's just a bigger surface area to cover. But the trick is just basically going slow. Again, you don't want it to get away from you, and you just can't add material, but you can take it away. And then also do like a really good job of like masking stuff off. So when I was done, all I did was I took some alcohol while it was still all wrapped up in the 3M tape, and I just kind of wiped off like any kind of the polishing compound residue off the blades, and I took off the masking tape, and this is what we're left with. So I will go ahead and throw it on the statue so you guys can kind of take a look and see how it looks on Freddy. Here is the glove on, and although it's kind of hard to get the blades on here to kind of show you what it looks like, hopefully it's translating, but anyway, I think he looks much better with the polished and sharpened blades. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and as always, feel free to like and subscribe and click the bell for notifications for new videos. And I love doing little tutorials like this to help other people out to take on projects that are kind of fun like this. But yeah, until next time, I will see you guys later.